Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that has captivated humankind for centuries. Immortality. Imagine a world where humans could live forever. What would it look like? What would we do with all that time? Now, I know what you're thinking, Neil. Isn't this a bit out there, even for you? But stick with me, because we're not just talking about some mythical fountain of youth. We're going to explore the latest scientific advancements and theories surrounding human longevity and delve into the potential social, economic, and even philosophical implications of a world without death. Get ready to have your mind blown wide open as we embark on this thought-provoking journey into the realm of what if humans could live forever? Let's get started. So let's start with the big question. Is living forever even scientifically possible? Well, it's complicated. We haven't quite cracked the code to immortality just yet, but scientists are making some pretty remarkable strides in understanding the aging process. One area of focus is on our DNA, the blueprint of life. You see, every time our cells divide, the protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes, called telomeres, shorten a bit. It's kind of like burning the candle at both ends. Eventually, these telomeres get so short that the cells can no longer divide properly, leading to aging and eventually, well, you know. But here's the exciting part. Researchers have discovered an enzyme called telomerase that can actually lengthen these telomeres, potentially slowing down or even reversing the cellular aging process. Now, this is still very much in the early stages of research, but it's a tantalizing clue that holds immense promise. And it's not just about telomeres. Scientists are also exploring other fascinating avenues, like the role of senescent cells. These are basically zombie cells that stop dividing but don't die off, and they can cause inflammation and damage to surrounding tissues. Then there's the emerging field of regenerative medicine, where scientists are working on growing new organs and tissues in the lab, potentially replacing damaged ones and extending our lifespan. And let's not forget about the potential of nanotechnology, with tiny robots that could one day repair our bodies at the cellular level. While true immortality might still be a distant dream, the pursuit of extending human lifespan is very much a reality. And who knows, maybe one day we'll look back at death as just another disease that we've managed to conquer. Now, let's say, just for fun, that we do figure out how to live forever. What would we do with all that time? I mean, talk about having your whole life ahead of you, right? Think about it. You could finally learn all those languages you've always wanted to, travel to every corner of the globe, master every instrument imaginable. You could become an expert in countless fields, switching careers as often as you change your socks. You could witness firsthand the evolution of humanity, the rise and fall of civilizations, the incredible technological advancements that we can only dream of today. Imagine having centuries to dedicate to scientific research, to artistic expression, to exploring the deepest oceans and the farthest reaches of space. The possibilities would be truly limitless, but with endless time also comes the question of purpose. Would we still strive for greatness if we knew we had forever to achieve it? Would we cherish life as much if death wasn't constantly lurking around the corner? These are questions that philosophers have grappled with for millennia, and there are no easy answers. Some believe that immortality would lead to a profound sense of boredom and apathy, a loss of meaning in a world without end. Others argue that it would push humanity to new heights of creativity and innovation, freeing us from the constraints of time. Perhaps we would find new passions to pursue, new goals to strive for, new ways to connect with each other and the universe around us. It's a fascinating thought experiment, and one that raises more questions than answers. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the billions of elephants that would eventually inhabit the planet if we all stopped dying. Overpopulation is a major concern when we talk about immortality. Think about it. If people aren't dying at the same rate, but new humans are still being born, the Earth's resources would be stretched even thinner than they already are. We're already facing challenges with feeding, housing, and providing clean water and energy to our current population. Now imagine adding immortality into the mix. It would be like trying to squeeze an ever-growing number of people onto a lifeboat that's already at capacity. We'd have to find some seriously innovative solutions to sustain a constantly expanding population. We might have to rethink our entire approach to resource management, exploring vertical cities, underwater habitats, even colonizing other planets. The pressure on our environment would be immense, and we'd need to find ways to minimize our ecological footprint like never before. Of course, some might argue that overpopulation would incentivize us to find solutions, to push the boundaries of technology and innovation in ways we can't even imagine. Maybe we'd finally crack the code on fusion energy, develop self-sustaining ecosystems, and figure out how to grow food in the most inhospitable environments. But even with the most optimistic projections, overpopulation in an immortal world presents a formidable challenge, one that we'd need to address head-on long before we achieve immortality. Now, let's talk about how immortality would shake things up in the social and economic spheres. First off, the traditional family structure would likely undergo a radical transformation. Imagine multiple generations, even dozens of them, living under one roof. Grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents' family reunions would be a sight to behold. And speaking of families, the institution of marriage might need a serious rethink. Would people still be tying the "not till death do us part" if death were taken out of the equation? Would we see new forms of relationships emerge, built on the premise of shared experiences over centuries or even millennia? It boggles the mind. And let's not forget about the workforce. In a world without retirement, people could potentially work for centuries. Imagine the expertise and experience people would accumulate. Of course, this also brings up some interesting questions about social mobility and economic inequality. Would we end up with a society where the same people hold on to power and wealth for generations upon generations, while others struggle to get ahead? These are complex issues with no easy answers, and they highlight the need for careful consideration of the potential consequences of extending human lifespan indefinitely. The world as we know it would be turned on its head, and it would be up to us to navigate these uncharted waters and create a future that works for everyone, not just the immortal few. Now I know what you're thinking. Neil, you're really selling us on this whole immortality thing, aren't you? Look, I'm as fascinated by the idea as anyone, but it's important to remember that even with all its potential benefits, living forever wouldn't be all sunshine and roses. Imagine carrying the weight of memories, both good and bad, for thousands of years. The joy of witnessing countless generations come and go would be counterbalanced by the sorrow of losing loved ones over and over again. The accumulation of knowledge and experience would come at the cost of seeing the same mistakes repeated throughout history. And then there's the question of identity. If our cells are constantly renewing themselves, if we're constantly evolving and changing over time, at what point do we stop being us and become someone else entirely? It's a philosophical conundrum that we don't have a concrete answer to. Some might argue that it's the continuity of consciousness, the thread of our experiences that defines who we are, regardless of physical changes. Others might say that our physical bodies are an integral part of our identity and that constant renewal would eventually erode the essence of who we are. And let's not forget the potential for boredom. Even with all the time in the world, wouldn't there come a point where we've seen and done it all? Would life still hold the same wonder and excitement after thousands of years? These are just some of the potential downsides of living forever, reminders that even the most enticing prospects come with their own set of challenges. So here we are at the crux of it all. After exploring the science, the possibilities, the challenges, and the potential downsides, it all boils down to this. Would you personally want to live forever? It's a question that forces us to confront our own mortality, our values, our hopes, and our fears. There's no right or wrong answer, of course. It's a deeply personal decision, one that each of us would have to make for ourselves. Some might embrace immortality with open arms, eager to explore all that life has to offer for eternity. Others might find the prospect daunting, even terrifying, preferring the natural order of life and death. And then there are those who might be on the fence, torn between the allure of endless possibilities and the comfort of the familiar. No matter where you stand on this issue, I hope this exploration has given you something to think about. The pursuit of immortality, even if it remains just out of reach, forces us to grapple with some of the biggest questions about life, death, and what it means to be human. It challenges us to think critically about the future we want to create, both for ourselves and for generations to come, and ultimately it reminds us to cherish the time we have, whether it's finite or infinite, and to make the most of this precious gift we call life. So what do you think? Would you take the plunge into immortality if you had the chance? Let me know in the comments below. It's a topic that sparks endless debate, and I'm always eager to hear your thoughts. As we continue to unlock the secrets of aging and push the boundaries of human lifespan, the question of immortality is bound to become even more relevant and pressing. It's a future full of possibilities, both exhilarating and daunting, and it's up to us to shape it wisely. Thanks for joining me on this mind-bending journey. Until next time, keep exploring the universe and never stop asking questions.